He took out a second mortgage behind my back and gambled it away just 2 towns over. The casino loyalty card was hidden behind a dusty photo from our 40th wedding anniversary. His name shimmered in gold. Next to it was a used envelope stamped complimentary suite. My hands turned cold, like I had opened the freezer and found it completely empty. It felt like someone had erased me from the deed and from his life. This wasn't just a mistake. It was a financial betrayal, quiet, deliberate, complete. What if the man you shared your house with was quietly betting it on secrets you were never meant to find? Clara had lived in the same house for 38 years. It wasn't large. A modest, single-story ranch with green shutters and a cracked driveway. But it was home. She was 67, a retired nurse. She had delivered babies, held hands as others slipped away, and bandaged more wounds than she could count. Her hands remembered everything except betrayal. Dennis was her husband, 70 years old, a retired mechanic with a short temper and quiet routines. He wasn't cruel, he just liked control, especially over money. "You handle people," he used to say. "I'll handle the numbers." For most of their marriage, Clara accepted that. It wasn't a decision, it was a habit, the kind of quiet agreement that grows over time. They had no fights about money, but no plans either. And that's how a financial planning story becomes a financial betrayal. She didn't grow up asking questions. She grew up obeying. Clara spent her mornings reading the paper at the kitchen table. She liked the smell of old coffee and the feel of sun through the lace curtain. Dennis had started sleeping later these days and driving more. He'd tell her he was going to Johnstown or Amsterdam, said he was meeting someone from the credit union or checking in on a tax thing. Always vague, always alone. He kept the office door shut now. When Clara passed by, she could hear typing, sometimes soft muttering. Once, she thought she heard music not the kind from a radio. It was synthetic, fast, like the jingle of slot machines. One Thursday morning, Clara was sorting mail. She found a thick envelope from a bank she didn't know. Burgundy seal. Her name wasn't on it. She pulled out one sheet. A number caught her eye. 6 figures. She didn't finish the page. Dennis walked in, took the paper from her hand, and chuckled. "Junk mail," he said. "They send fake stuff to seniors hoping we'll fall for it." She watched him slide the envelope into the kitchen drawer, not the trash, and close it without a sound. Her chest tightened, but she smiled, folded the newspaper, let it go. Then came the drives at night. Dennis said he liked the quiet roads, said it helped him think. Clara didn't argue, but she noticed the changes. He stopped eating dinner. He brought home less cash. There was once a lipstick-smudged receipt from a liquor lounge in the passenger seat. He said it blew in through the window. She cleaned the car the next morning, found gold foil in the glove box, the kind wrapped around cheap whiskey. She didn't speak a word, but something deep in her stomach turned cold. It was early April when everything came apart. Clara was cleaning the hallway closet. The air smelled of lemon polish and rain. She moved slowly, humming under her breath. Her hands reached for the top-shelf old shoeboxes, scarves, a tin of gift bows. In the corner, she found a small grey box she didn't recognize. She sat on the floor and opened it. Inside were folded brochures, faded napkins, and a framed photo from their anniversary in Vermont. The frame was heavier than it looked. When she turned it over, something slipped out. A black and gold card. Golden River Casino, VIP member, Dennis K. Gold tier. She froze. The lamplight hit the card just right. She saw the emboss, the years printed beneath member since 2019. She hadn't known. She hadn't seen. There was more. A glossy brochure, complimentary luxury suite for gold tier guests. No blackout dates. And then, a paperclip. holding together 20 sheets of legal text. She read the first line: second mortgage agreement, dated 14 months ago. Dennis's signature was on every page. Clara's name wasn't there at all. He took out a second mortgage behind my back. I didn't even know we still had debt. I thought the house was ours, paid, finished, done. We'd burned the last mortgage letter 5 years ago, in this same kitchen. He brought out pie. We danced. Just the two of us. I remember laughing. I remember safety. Now I only remember the cold. My chest ached, but not like grief. It was sharper, like something inside me had been cut loose. I couldn't feel my fingertips, but I could hear the hum of the fridge and the ticking of the old wall clock, louder than before. I walked to the sink, dropped the card in, turned on the tap, watched as the water spun it slowly, like a coin circling a drain, like it might vanish if I stared long enough. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat in my robe with a mug of cold tea. I stared at our old budget book. I had written every grocery total in blue pen for 30 years, carefully. Honestly, I flipped to the last page. The numbers meant nothing now. He had gambled with our future, with my trust, and not just money. He had risked the roof above us, the foundation under us, and he did it alone, without my name, without my consent, without shame. In the stillness of morning, I whispered into the empty room. I guess I was never part of the plan, just the collateral. Some call it secrecy, some call it control, but when one partner signs for everything and the other just trusts, that's not love, that's elder abuse. And sometimes, it takes losing everything to see it for what it is. The most dangerous kind of betrayal isn't loud. It doesn't come with shouting or slammed doors. It comes in sealed envelopes, in one-sided decisions, in papers signed alone. Clara believed that love meant trust, that marriage meant protection. But trust, without awareness, becomes a blindfold. And in the eyes of the law, blindfolds are dangerous. She thought silence meant peace, but it only hid the storm until it was too late. Dennis committed mortgage fraud in marriage. He used their home, a home built from 4 decades of shared labor, to borrow money in secret. He didn't tell her, didn't ask her. He mortgaged their security for a gamble 2 towns over. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was legal. This was financial betrayal in its most intimate form, hiding debt beneath years of shared routines. By excluding Clara from the decision, he turned their shared asset into a private risk. And by breaking the trust tied to their retirement financial planning, he endangered more than just money. He shattered the foundation they were supposed to grow old on. But Clara had a part in this too. Like many women in long-term marriages, she had stepped away from financial documents, not out of weakness, but out of habit. She trusted. She believed. She let him handle it. She didn't check the deed. She didn't read the mail. And when the mortgage was signed without her name, she didn't know enough to stop it. That's how so many financial planning stories end not in argument, but in absence. In the eyes of the law, what you don't know can still cost you everything. But Clara didn't stay quiet. After the truth surfaced, she took action. 3 steps each, one clear, concrete, and protected under U.S. law. First, she gathered every document she could find: the mortgage papers, the casino membership card, the brochure offering luxury suites. Then, she brought them to an elder law attorney, someone who specialized in financial abuse involving seniors and spouses. The lawyer confirmed the loan had been signed solely by Dennis, and because their home was located in New York, an equitable distribution state, Clara still had legal rights to the property's value, even though her name was missing. Second, she filed a complaint with the bank that approved the second mortgage. Her attorney argued that the lender had failed in its duty to verify spousal awareness and consent, a critical safeguard when dealing with jointly occupied homes. Because Clara was over 65, the case also fell under potential elder financial exploitation. The bank opened an internal audit. After reviewing the documents and signatures, they acknowledged procedural failure. They offered to restructure the loan to prevent foreclosure and placed a temporary freeze on further debt collection. Third, Clara filed for divorce. With the help of her attorney, she submitted evidence of hidden debt in retirement, unauthorized financial decisions, and patterns of secrecy. The court recognized the case as financial betrayal in a long-term marriage. Dennis was ordered to surrender control of the home. He lost access to Clara's retirement benefits and was required to cover a portion of the outstanding debt using his personal assets. The judge granted Clara a separation order and affirmed her right to remain in the house until proper asset division could be completed. She didn't get everything back, but she didn't lose everything either. She took back her name and her place, not just in the house, but in the decisions that shaped her life. Clara didn't stay in the house, not because she was forced out, because she chose not to live inside a silence that nearly destroyed her. She sold what remained of her share, took the settlement, not a fortune, but enough to start again. She moved into a small rental duplex just outside the town of Ballston Spa. Quiet, 2 rooms, a back porch with space for 3 flower pots and a folding chair. For the first time in decades, the lease had only her name on it. No co-signer, no hidden terms, just Clara. She started slow. 1 drawer, 1 document. She opened a checking account in her own name. She bought a lockbox for important papers. She even joined a free evening class at the county library, understanding property rights after 65. It was there she met others women with stories like hers, women who had trusted, waited, stayed, and paid the price. They didn't talk much at first, just nodded across the room. But by the 3rd session, someone brought cookies. Someone else passed around folders. Clara found herself standing up one day, her hands only slightly shaking, saying, "If I had known what to ask back then, I wouldn't be here now. But maybe I can help you ask it today." Now, once a month, Clara volunteers at the local women's legal aid clinic. She doesn't lecture, she doesn't scold. She brings a manila envelope, lays out blank mortgage forms, and says, "If your name isn't on here, your rights aren't either." The weight of what she lost never fully disappears. But the fear has changed. She used to wake at 3 a.m., terrified of losing the roof over her head. Now, she wakes and checks the file cabinet by her bed. Everything labeled, signed, protected. Not because she expects betrayal again, but because now she knows how to see it coming. And that, too, is how we survive financial betrayal. Not by undoing it, but by refusing to repeat it. That's what retirement insecurity after divorce really looks like. It's not always sleeping on someone's couch. Sometimes, it's sitting in your own home, wondering if your name is on the loan, wondering if trust was ever enough. Clara once believed that keeping the house meant keeping the marriage, but she was wrong. What she needed to keep was her name. If you're watching this from a place you call home, pause and ask yourself, do I know what name is on the deed? Do I know who holds the power to borrow against this roof? Not just today, but in the future, in sickness, in grief, in moments no one plans for. Start with one small act today. Open the drawer, find the deed, take a photo. If your name isn't there, ask why. Then talk to someone, a friend, a lawyer, your child, yourself, and if there's someone in your life, your sister, your neighbor, your church friend, who spent her life trusting without asking, share this video with her. Sit beside her, print the forms, fill them out together, look line by line. We are not too old to ask questions. We are not too late to protect what we've built. And we are never, ever alone.